And thanks to our buddy Maximal10, we're actually going to round out today our look at the Transformers Energon Maximus combiners, I'll call it. We looked at Bruticus Maximus, we looked at Superion Maximus, and of course they are foes. The other foe of Superion Maximus, the ally of Bruticus Maximus, also loyal to Galvatron, we now have a Devastator by any other name. I'm talking, of course, about Constructicon Maximus. This is a bit of a weird one, and he's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey, one hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton and let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is the last that I have of the Maximus combiners. I think there were only 3. My understanding, and I don't know the fiction well, but my understanding is that Constructicon Maximus and Bruticus Maximus really squared off against Superion, and Superion's brother was destroyed or deactivated or something by Megatron maybe, before he became Galvatron, when he was all like, I think amped up on like Super Energon or something. I don't know, it's weird. Nevertheless, this is kind of that era's take, the Energon take if you will, on what many would call Devastator. And to be fair, and not for nothing, the torso is very Devastator-esque. I should probably push that head down a bit. Very Devastator-esque, though the limbs leave something to the imagination. How successful does this work overall? Well, we're going to do as we've done with the other ones, which is look at 3 molds. Since this leg and this arm is the same mold, we're only going to transform it once. And since this leg and this arm are the same mold, we're only going to transform it once. And we'll of course do the torso, which is kind of wild and bonkers all at the same time. Without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at this set. And if you've been around the channel for the last little while, then you probably know where we were headed, because we looked at Bruticus Maximus a little while ago, then we looked at Superion Maximus, and now we look at Bruticus Maximus's buddy. Basically, as best as I can tell, and honestly I don't remember because Unicron Trilogy is not at all remotely my thing in the least, but my understanding is that the ancient combiners all got woken up. There was one that was like the brother or something of Superion Maximus, I can't remember his name, but he got like destroyed or some such thing, and Bruticus Maximus and Constructicon Maximus, or I guess Energon's version of Devastator, got, they became loyal to Galvatron. I know I'm stumbling as I'm saying all this. It's because I really don't know the fiction, because it's so badly translated, edited, rushed. It's not good fiction. It's just not. But that doesn't mean that the products aren't good. And that brings us to this guy. Now, of course, as has been the case with all of these, I'm only going to be doing 3. Steam Hammer, I'm going to have to show that he's the torso. Then we have Bone Crusher, is my understanding. Yeah, Bone Crusher, who is this guy. And honestly, all you do to get in leg mode is make him a tractor. And like this is arm mode. It's just a tractor. The only difference, I'm gonna show it now. The only difference is, there you go, leg mode. Right? It's really, I guess that can come forward. There's your combiner port thing up there, right? Leg mode, put those down, arm mode. So really no transformation there at all to get in the mode. I kind of like that for those 2. Then we have, by the way, I guess I should like mention this. Just as this guy is Bone Crusher, this guy here, his name is Sledge. This guy is Sledge. So Steam Hammer, Sledge, Bone Crusher, and then that leaves us with the 2 cranes, neither of which are named Hook, by the way. One is, this guy is Dust Storm, and really this is his arm mode. just like this. This is the hand, right? So this is the arm mode, and the other one is wide load, which is this one. And all we did differently between arm mode and leg mode here is I picked this piece up and I rotated this in. There is a little peg right here that goes into a port on the side of this little, I don't know what we call it, stabilizer, I suppose, like that. Right, instead of being down flat, it's done like that. I think we got to collapse the legs if I'm not. No, we don't have to collapse the legs. We just do it like that, and then we just flip up the toes, I believe, and I think we just flip back these. Yeah, we just flip it like. It's not quite straight, but we just flip it like that, basically, to do the foot mode. Very tight tolerances here, but yeah, for arm mode, straighten that up, bring this out, put that back on, and slot that on the side. This is it, vehicle mode for arm mode. So we kind of have all of the limbs done, right? Very, very, very straightforward, because since the two legs are done, this is an arm and this is an arm, just in their vehicle modes. But we have to get a torso first, so how about we start with Steamhammer, who is a little bit complicated. The leader of the team is this guy Steamhammer, who is very much Constructicon colors, what with his greens and his purples, and I like it, honestly. I think it's really cool. But I do find the transformation to be a bit finicky for this guy. He does have an ability to roll here. This does move, I guess, like up and down and stuff, which is cool. All of that's cool. He can turn around like this and whatnot. He definitely, of all three of the torsos, he definitely has the most complex transformation, certainly to get to robot and then from robot to torso. We're going to try and go through it here. Hopefully I can show it somewhat smoothly. We will begin by well, actually, we're going to begin by bringing these pieces down, and then we're going to untab this here, which is tabbed on very tight. There. And that one tabbed on very tight. We bring this out, we bring this out. Rotate around, bring down, bring down. And then that should all be able to come down there. We're going to bring up a toe and bring up a toe, and we're going to make sure that we have this all the way down and snapped in. Now these, they say to put them on the inside of the leg. Can you? Yeah, I guess you have to. I wondered if they could fold on the back, but they can't. So that folds in on this side, that folds in on this side. They should have been able to fold around the back, I think. Bit of a bummer, So we're going to take that down. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to stand this guy up, back things up, because we still have to do the upper body. Not for nothing, and to his credit, I'm impressed that the guy has enough of a base on his feet that he can still stand up here. We're going to bring this arm out. Positioning this arm is always the biggest nuisance. I mean, once you have this done, this kind of just goes in here and sort of hides under the legs. It's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit cumbersome if you ask me. We bring this piece down, and we should be able to flip out the head right there. Yeah. We bring this shoulder over, and we leave this on the back of the shoulder, and we rotate the arm around and down, thusly. And then we bring this arm over and down, and we rotate it around. Whew, and boom, here we have him in his robot mode. I'm going to say a 9 for the look of the guy as a Constructicon. I'm going to say a 7 for the transformation. I do find it just not intuitive. Maybe you do, I don't. If you do find it intuitive, then you know what, more power to you, I guess. And I suppose if you want, not for nothing, you could leave it this way, or you could do the arm this way and kind of open it up. That's kind of up to you how you do that. In terms of, so like transformation is kind of iffy. Look is kind of great. The articulation here, the head, I don't know if it can, I don't know if the head can move because these tires are in the way. This arm can go all the way around, out to the side. Nice deep double elbow, swivel, nothing at the wrist. This arm over here, swivel, can go all the way around. Again, a deep elbow. That doesn't move per se. We do have a waist on the guy. We do have, that should be locked in. Why it's not, I'm not sure. Maybe I forgot to turn the waist around. No, I didn't. I had the waist the right way. I do believe anyway. Leg all the way forward. Leg all the way back. 90 degrees at the knee. And when we take the hip skirts up, we can go all the way out to the side. I think the articulation is pretty good. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I don't like doing the transformation for this guy. I don't find it intuitive, and I don't enjoy it. I'm not a fan of asymmetry, and this guy is very asymmetrical. The articulation's pretty good, though I do find that the knees, though they're supposed to stay pegged, do like to come undone a little bit. Not a huge deal breaker, just a little bit, but worth noting. I'm going to say overall, this guy as a torso, as its own transformer, is somewhere around a 7.5. It's okay, but I certainly wouldn't go out of my way to go hunting this guy down. Okay, let's try and get this dude now to his torso. Gosh, I hope I can do this. Because again, not intuitive. We're going to bring back the robot mode head, and we're going to pick, let's see if I can show this. We're going to take that down, and that these treads, yeah, they all come off, right? From the where it was pegged in here. We're going to adjust all that just a little bit. Then we should be able to fold this in and attach it. Yeah, there's a peg hole right here and a peg right here. So this arm should, there you go on over that, like that. And then for this one here, we fold it in and we turn this forward and open it up. That gives us the head, right? And then again, we have a peg here and a peg hole right here just down under the screw. We're going to fold this arm up and make sure that we get it to peg in. Then we can solidify this up on the back. Bring these down. And we should be able to now take this peg and put it into this peg hole here. Like that. There we go. Bit more intuitive to get to the torso once you've done it a couple of times. I think it seems counterintuitive because it's asymmetrical, honestly. We fold it up, fold it up. I respect how brilliant the engineering is here. I just don't enjoy it. I don't find it intuitive. That's why I scored it a little bit lower than I think the other torsos. I want to say Barricade, the Bruticus torso, is probably my favorite one of the torsos of these guys. And we just collapse the legs. The legs are always the easiest on all of these torsos. Because we have two combined mode legs, we can actually attach them so that this guy looks like, boom, yeah, like this. And you know what? He's pretty solid. This is pretty darn good. So, since we have this leg done, we're going to look at the other tractor, the other leg. We're going to look at Sledge. And again, because of the combiner port being here, and I mean, we can take this and like do this with it if we want. We can just get this out of the way. But whatever we do with it, this can be a hand this way, or you can do that and it's a foot, right? So we're going to take this off. Next time we see it in vehicle mode, it will be a hand, I promise. So what about the transformation for this guy to robot mode? We begin by, I hope we begin by, I'd like to think we begin by, yeah. Bringing down a leg and bringing down a leg and, yeah, we have both of those legs down now. Thought that just went in, but I guess I'm wrong. Oh, torso flips down, thusly like this. And I should be able to turn the guy around, turn the waist around. There we go. Yeah, the torso flips all the way over and then we turn the waist around. Yeah. Then we can flip those tires to the back and bring out the arms on the side. Open out a hand. Snap in the waist if you didn't have that done already. Open out a hand. And turn the head around. And boom, in the end, here we have Sledge in his robot mode. Honestly, I like this. You fold the legs down, you have to turn at the waist, then the entire torso kind of folds all over. The head is just there. I like it, but it wasn't visible. The arms are very simplistic, but you know what? It makes sense that they would be tucked the way they are. Very intuitive, very nice transformation. I'm going to give it a 10. I think it's great. As a standalone, this guy is pretty spectacular, even with his backpack. Look at the guy. Again, I'm going to say a 9. I don't really remember him from the show. But I'm guessing it's pretty darn accurate. So a 9, a 10, a 9.5. Let's do the articulation. Well, we know the head can go left and right because it was turned around. The arms can go all the way around, out to the side. We have super deep elbow. No bicep swivel on this guy. No bicep swivel. Legs can go forward, back, splits all the way out to the side. Thigh swivel. Well over 90 degrees at the knee. I wonder, can this? It didn't. I just wondered if it was able to fold back behind his leg, but it can't. It can't. That's all right. No big deal. They can move if you want to give them more heel spurs or if you want to bring them up more on his leg. I don't think I mentioned that when I did the transformation, but I should have mentioned that they can come up on the side of his leg. I think he's pretty strong. Honestly, I think he's pretty great. Overall, I'm going to say he's about a 9, which is good because the torso was about a 7, 7.5. So a 9 is nice for this mold and, of course, the other tractor as well. I'm not going to show the transformation back to vehicle because we don't need to. We just know that the vehicle is the arm mode, which means we can go straight to... that's right, to Dust Storm. And let's not forget that this will be arm mode. And to do the foot mode, we open that out and we peg this piece in, and then we would open up the front, toes and the back, and that would give us our foot, right? So we're going to keep that in mind because I'm not going to do the transformation back to this mode after we do it to robot mode. Again, I don't know the actual transformation here, so this is going to be a little bit of a wish and a prayer, and we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's very hard, though. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure that we can just open out those arms and open out that arm. Do I rotate? Yes, I must, because that's his head right there. And I must, though I have this out, I'm thinking I was supposed to rotate this first. There we go. There we go. Rotate, rotate. Bring that down and bring the head back and straighten it up. There we go. Bring an arm down and around. Bring this arm down and around. This one, very big because it has the crane hook and stuff, right? Straighten out the legs. Make sure these shoulders are all the way back. Straighten out the legs here. And split. Bring back a heel. Bring back a heel. Bring up a toe. Bring up a toe. Fold that piece in. And boom. In the end, here we have Dust Storm in his robot mode. And again, this is one of those weirdos that's not symmetrical. This can go, he has a bicep swivel, he has an elbow here. Arm can go all the way around, way out to the side and up over his head. It can do all of that stuff, I guess. This arm over here, it can go all the way around. Bicep swivel, deep elbow, nothing at the wrist. The head, it can certainly rotate left and right. Waist, waist on the guy, nice tight waist too. Leg all the way forward, leg all the way back, legs to the side. Man, oh man, Maximal 10 has some real gems because the tolerances here are really good. By the way, shout out to Maximal 10 if I didn't say that. He owns this, and that's the only reason I'm getting a chance to look at it. 90 degrees at the knee, and I guess you could use the toe and heel backward and forward. But man, the dude has some big honking feet. Transformation is very simple, but interesting, especially the way the head moves. I love that. I'm going to say 9 for the transformation. For the look of the guy, again, I'm going to say a 9 because, as usual, I don't really remember him on the show. And in terms of articulation, even though this is kind of obtrusive and kind of annoying, it doesn't really get in the way of much of anything. And I'm going to say an 8. Honestly, I'm going to say an 8. I think it's pretty good. I think that the torso was about a 7.5. I think the overall hair is about an 8, maybe an 8.25. And I think the tractors are more like an 8.75 and 9, right? So I think the tractors are the best. This mold is the second best in the set, and the torso is probably the most cumbersome. But at the end of the day, for a whole set, right now they're setting at about an 8 or so. And when they're all together, they look like this. That's right, he looks like this. Next to Bruticus Maximus and Superion Maximus. If I was to do these in order, I think Bruticus Maximus is the strongest overall. I think Constructicon Maximus is the next strongest and most solid overall. And I think the weakest of the trio is probably Superion Maximus because I do find, at least on this copy, that the torso does like to come on tap. I think all three of these are ripe for updates. Combiner Wars gave us G1. You hear people all the time saying, we want a Superion, we want a Menasor, we want a Bruticus. We don't need it. We've already had the G1 guys done, and they're done splendidly because Combiner Wars was great. You know what fans do need? They need these guys updated. I don't understand why anybody likes Unicron Trilogy. I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I'm not saying it to be offensive, but the production was rushed, the voice acting was terrible, a lot of the characters were terrible. They go off on a lot of weird tangents. They got nothing to do with the main story, and it takes me out of it. So fiction-wise, I think it's a low point of the franchise. But character-wise, design-wise, there's a whole sea of people that have been waiting, salivating for their nostalgia to be filled with updates to these guys. And you know what? I support that. I honestly think that while I don't understand the fiction, why I don't understand the appeal, I don't have to. It doesn't need to be for me. I'm advocating for Unicron Trilogy fans to get these guys updated. On the whole, Constructicon Maximus is a bit smaller than your run-of-the-mill Combiner Wars offering, but it's still pretty solid and chunky. Honestly, the heft is really good. Pardon me, there was a little cut there because the battery died. It happens. The only thing that we have to do now is the articulation, which I'm going to try and do here as quickly as possible. So the arms, they can go forward and back and out to the side. Both of them can do it. You would think that this bucket and this bucket would get more in the way than it does, but it really doesn't. The head doesn't really, it can move, but not as much as you might like for it to do, and it doesn't really tab in. That's a little bit of a bummer. Not a deal breaker, but a little bit of a bummer. We do have a bit of a waist, which is neat. Taking this arm up out of it, taking this arm up out of it. The legs can go all the way to the side. Pretty much full splits, honestly. The leg can go not as much forward as I would like, but quite a ways back. That said, you can kind of fake forward if you undo the hips there, I suppose, right? You could fake getting it forward if you undo the waist and the hips. And maybe I got something done wrong here. And the knees, by rights, are 90 degrees at the knee. This one's even a bit more because it just came unpegged. But yeah, I mean, elbows would be nice. You know, maybe a little more solid, but nothing major, and he stands pretty darn well. It's not a bad combiner. I find it interesting that everybody complains about translucent parts. This guy has them, and guess what? They're fine. In fact, all of his ports that you put the combiner pieces on, same thing. They're fine. They're translucent, but they're fine. This is an interesting hodgepodge. It's not for me, but you know what? If you're a fan of Energon, if you're a fan of Unicron Trilogy, these are your combiners. This is your Constructicon Maximus, and he was and still is a very hefty, chunky, solid, fantastic bot made with fantastic materials. The kind of imperfections, the little tolerance issues, I'm not really scoring it down based on any of that because this thing is, what, 20 years old? So, I mean, you're gonna have a bit more looseness after all that time. I'm gonna say overall, as a complete package, this is a solid 8. It's a great set. Definitely takes some time to explore, especially the torso, but overall, it's a pretty great set. And here we are once again, and here they are. So, this is a case where I think the stars of the show are really the 4 limbs. All of these guys are basically in their vehicle mode. Like this guy is just in his vehicle mode. This guy is just in his vehicle mode. This guy is just in his vehicle mode. And they work just fine as limbs in their vehicle mode, even though it'd be nice if the arms had proper elbows. Small price to pay. I suppose if you attach this, I guess it kind of has a little bit of an elbow, but it's not really supposed to have an elbow. I thought that I would find this bucket and this bucket more egregious than I actually ended up finding it. But then we get to the torso. The torso is nuts to transform. I don't at all find it intuitive, but I think Steamhammer, I believe is his name. He's a fine tractor, I guess. Once you get him to robot mode, he's very asymmetrical, but functional enough. And then we get to the torso mode, which I think is okay. The lower legs, they're easy to transform. Getting the upper body into position isn't bad. You kind of cram the arms behind. I do wish that the way the torso, see if I can show this, I probably can't at this point. I do wish the way the torso kind of tabbed up inside behind these treads, I wish that was more solid. It's not really very solid. But I don't really mark it down because I think that's more an age thing, just wear over time. I assume it was a lot more solid when this was brand new. And the head doesn't, like, it seems to rest here, but it doesn't seem to actually tab in anywhere, and I feel like it should have, or if it does tab in, I can't really find it. And it's weird when you're moving the arm and the head moves over to the side like that. If I were to rank the 3 Maximus combiners, first of all, I would say they're all fairly solid, and I would say, honestly, if any combiners are going to get an update, maybe something from RID or these guys. We've done the G1 updates. That was done in Combiner Wars and lasted for a few years after that. Even Legacy had a Menasor. But I really feel like, though I can't stand the fiction, though I don't understand why anyone does, Unicron Trilogy, I don't get its existence. I do respect the fans enough to say, if it is your era, then you know what? I think you guys are due for updates and upgrades for your combiners. Because these are great. But having, you know, kind of modern engineering, having elbows, having a little more solidity might be nice. To their credit, they use translucent plastic and it works just fine. To their credit, all these years later, the quality of the plastic was pretty good and they're quite solid. If I was to rank these, I went on a tangent there, but if I was to rank these, I think the best one is Bruticus Maximus. I think this guy's a close second to Bruticus Maximus, and I think Superion Maximus is probably my 3rd favorite, only because of how the torso likes to come unpegged, and I attribute that to age. Very Scramble City-ish in the thought process here, but very effective at the same time. We have a knee, we have a waist, we have a head, we have arms that go all the way around, and can even T-pose. All we really sort of needed was an elbow. And you know what? Even the size and heft feels pretty good. A little bit bigger might be nice, but man, keep the nice robust heft. Let me know what you think about Constructicon Maximus, or any of the other Maximus combiners that I covered, being Superion and Bruticus. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring. Or of course, you can hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, please and thank you, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and don't forget, not for 1 second, not for 1 day, not for 1 moment, that you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.